The Springfield Office of Public Works, in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce Q5 Infrastructure Committee, has estimated $44 million in necessary spending to address our infrastructure needs. This would be an annual expenditure that would adequately fund our infrastructure maintenance, modernization, and expansion needs. Approximately 625 centerline miles of roadway are maintained by the City of Springfield, 360 miles of asphalt roads, 190 miles of oil and chip roads, 60 miles of concrete, and 13 miles of brick roads. Today, approximately 46% of those streets are in fair to poor condition and in need of repair. The engineering staff within Public Works annually analyzes road conditions, ranking from the poorest to the best. The fall 2012 ratings indicate a rapid increase in the percentage of roads in poor condition and a decline of those in good condition. There are several factors contributing to our deteriorating infrastructure. The increase in construction material and labor costs, the increase in the number of miles maintained by the city from 497 in 1997 to 625 miles today, and the decline in state and federal funding assistance. All have played a part in the state of disrepair we now find our streets, sidewalks, and sewers. Over the last 10 years, the cost per ton of asphalt and concrete has more than doubled. Springfield maintains many more miles of roadway in comparison to similar populated cities. These additional miles are maintained with a limited and declining budget. As infrastructure funding from state and federal sources has declined, the amount of roadway we must care for has increased. Funding for our local infrastructure needs is generated from these primary sources: $4.4 million from a 0.25% sales tax, $1.1 million from a 2% hotel-motel tax, and $2.9 million from motor fuel tax funds collected by the state. In addition, the Department of Public Works continues to seek available grant funding for safety and bridge projects, as well as utilizes tax increment financing when possible. Additional funding is anticipated from gambling revenue that is still to be realized with the continuing gambling machine expansion. Motor fuel taxes are utilized to cover a number of infrastructure maintenance projects as well as material purchases. Additionally, when participating in a state-funded expansion or improvement project, MFT funds are utilized for local participation matches. The Department of Public Works anticipates spending approximately $8.8 million in available funding on infrastructure projects in the coming year. The largest expenditure will be the $6 million on overlay and $1 million on sidewalks. Over the last several years, as the designated revenue for infrastructure has increased, expenditures on infrastructure have matched those levels. At the direction of Mayor Houston, the Department of Public Works has implemented an infrastructure maintenance plan that has increased overlay to 15 miles a year, increased by 30% the concrete program, seal coat program, and our sidewalk programs, and doubled the crack fill program. The question that is facing our community is what we should be spending to stop the decline of our infrastructure. What should we be spending on maintenance for our streets, sidewalks, and storm and sanitary sewer systems? At the direction of Mayor Houston, the Department of Public Works engineering staff has prepared a plan to stop the decline of our infrastructure. The proposal calls for an increase in spending on streets, sidewalks, and storm sewers over the next 3 years. That plan calls for overlaying 135 miles of asphalt roads in 3 years, then moving to an annual overlay program of approximately 24 miles annually. The program would call for tripling our expenditures on sidewalks and substantially increasing our expenditure on preventive maintenance programs. The necessary 3-year plan will call for 135 miles of asphalt overlay, 50 miles of preventive maintenance, 15 miles of concrete patching, 100 miles of crack filling, 150 miles of oil and chip road work, and 1.2 million square feet of sidewalk work, 2 miles of brick street repair, and spending $1 million on traffic signals and striping, and $4.5 million on storm sewers. The plan calls for spending $86.6 million over 3 years and will impact every area of the city. Upon the completion of the 3-year plan, the Department of Public Works is recommending an annual expenditure of $22.5 million on streets, sidewalks, and storm sewers to prevent a return to our current condition of disrepair. Our current annual funding is anticipated to fall to $7.5 million annually without an additional investment in our infrastructure. The Department of Public Works estimates an additional $15 million is necessary. If our city continues to invest in our infrastructure at the current rate, we will see 60% of our roads in need of repair by 2018 at estimated cost of $110 million for repair. By investing at the recommended levels for the 3-year plan and the increased annual level in year 4, an estimated $21 million will be saved. It is anticipated that this level of savings is minimal, as with continued neglect, the ultimate repair of the deteriorated roads will ultimately require more work. In addition to those needs, there are concerns with the deterioration of our aging sanitary and combined sewer systems. The sewer fund was established in 1956 to maintain the combined sewers and separate sanitary sewers within the city of Springfield. This fund was set up as a lockbox to fund repairs and improvement projects for the city's 140 miles of combined sewers and 355 miles of separate sanitary sewers. The city also has 200 miles of separate stormwater sewers that must be maintained through other funds. Sanitary sewer funds cannot be utilized for stormwater sewer maintenance. The Sewer Division of the Office of Public Works is operated through the funds generated through the sewer fee. The division is responsible for monitoring, inspecting, and repairing the system and dealing with issues that develop when the system fails. The cost associated with the operation, as well as the aging system, have increased to the point where the funding for necessary maintenance and improvement projects is inadequate. The sewer rate that funds the care and maintenance of our system was last adjusted in 1996. The average ratepayer contributes approximately $9.40 per month to the city sewer fund. There are separate sanitary district rates that are charged by the district to fund the treatment of the sewage. The sanitary district is a separate governmental operation from the city. In comparison to surrounding communities, the overall sewer charges by comparison are relatively low for Springfield. During the previous construction season, the sewer division completed approximately $625,000 worth of sewer projects. This year, the sewer division will be completing approximately $615,000 in projects. Sewer work in the Westchester neighborhood and design and study work in the Northeast and Grandview sewer districts, the Cook Street Sewer District, and the Passfield Sewer abandonment are anticipated. It is important to point out that our sanitary sewer collection system is regulated by the Environmental Protection Agency. Springfield has recently entered into an administrative order to report overflow data and to increase our monitoring to the EPA. Over the course of the next year and a half, we will be reporting information to the EPA regarding our efforts to eliminate overflows and backups in compliance with the Clean Water Act. Many communities across the country have been hit with civil penalties for their failure to comply with the Clean Water Act. In those cases, the EPA has mandated, through consent decrees, the rates and projects that must be completed by a community. When communities have failed to take responsibility for their system's maintenance needs, the EPA has stepped in and mandated the terms in which they will be addressed. We do not want to be in that situation in the city of Springfield. The question facing our community is what needs to be done to maintain and repair our current system and potentially avoid regulatory penalties. While headcount has decreased over the years, the cost of operations and emergency repairs continues to rise. At our current funding levels, through the city sewer fund, we will be in the near future not have enough to cover operation and our capital improvement projects. It is estimated there is a minimum of $55 million worth of projects that need to be completed over the next 10 years on our sanitary and combined sewers. These are projects that we know need to be completed. Additional projects may become necessary as we continue to collect more data on the condition of the system. The Sewer Division spent $625,000 last year on projects. We are recommending an annual project investment of $5.5 million a year. Our infrastructure is in decline and will accelerate unless we begin to invest more to maintain it. Mayor Houston has offered a plan that calls for $86.6 million in spending over the next 3 years and $22.5 million each year thereafter. In addition, the mayor has proposed spending $5.5 million a year to address our sanitary sewer system issues. The mayor and the city council are now in the process of identifying the investment sources to implement a plan that will move our city forward and maintain our infrastructure assets for future generations.